So I'm Kevin Danna, play-by-play broadcaster for the Santa Cruz Warriors. I've been with this team since October of 2012, since year one. Man, my very first memory was my first interview and going in and being interviewed by Tim Roy. So, like, I didn't know Tim Roy was going to be in there. He's the radio voice for the Golden State Warriors, and I'd like listened to this guy growing up, and I like got shell-shocked. I was like, oh, wait, that's Tim Roy right over there, and he's asking me questions. And I like thought I was pretty bad in the interview, but apparently I did well enough to get a second interview and got the job. That's my very first memory. First memory of actually being a part of the organization after getting hired was the 2012 D-League draft, D-League at the time. It was like right around Halloween. And I remember I went to Zoccoli's that day, got a chicken pesto sandwich, and every time I've gone to Zoccoli's since, I've gotten the chicken pesto sandwich, except maybe one time. But like, so yeah, I got my like staple sandwich on my first day at Santa Cruz, and yeah, I remember the G League draft. I remember drafting Travis Leslie with our first ever pick, and he turned into an all-star. Got a call up to Utah that year. Yeah, so my first game announcing, November 30th, 2012, we played in Reno, and the day of the game, myself, Andrew Loomis, who was part of the hiring committee, he was like the assistant GM at the time for Santa Cruz, love that guy, and Kent Bazemore took a flight from the Oakland airport to Reno. They are late to the airport, Andrew and Kent. Like, this is like maybe 45 minutes before the flight now. I'm freaking out. I got this 70-pound radio equipment with me, like nervous as hell to begin with, just because this is my first ever professional basketball game. They're late. I get stopped and frisked by security in the line. That holds us up even more. We get on the plane. We're in the very last row. It's a bumpy flight into Reno. We get on, we don't get connected with the station until like 10 minutes before we're supposed to go on the air. Like, we're all kind of losing our minds, but the game happens, we win. Taylor Griffin hits like a corner three to put the game out of reach. And I knew after that game, I was like eating with Casey Hill, who was an assistant at the time, and Andrew Loomis after the game. We got like they had this good Japanese restaurant at the hotel that we were at the Harrah's in Reno. And at that point, I knew I love this. Like, this is, I had nothing to be worried about. This is what I'm doing, and I've loved it ever since. Well, all right, proudest as a member of the Santa Cruz Warriors, you know, we talk about, moving up. The G League's all about getting call-ups, right, to the NBA, players and the people in the organization. My first ever Golden State Warriors game, I got to fill in for Tim Roy, and this is October of 2018, so the start of the last season at Oracle. So I got a chance to do an NBA game at Oracle, got a chance to do a couple, and yeah, just being able to call my first NBA regular season game, it was in my 7th year in the organization. I was like, man, all right, I can check this one off the bucket list. I've called an NBA regular season game. So that was definitely my proudest moment. And just like hearing the Rusco remix of California Love that they play at the games, like for the starting, when they're announcing the starting five and Oracle's going crazy and like the lights are dim. I remember just standing up and thinking, all right, this is my game now. And just, whew, yeah, brings chills when I hear that song. And Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, all out there, all before the injuries and stuff like that. And man, yeah, it was incredible. So yeah, that was definitely my proudest moment. I mean, I like the vibe down here. It's just a chill vibe. I like Pacific Avenue. I got my spot, Zoccoli's. We used to go to 99 Bottles after every game. This is like the second season, the whole staff, myself, Casey Hill, Andrew Loomis when he was still working here. Sammy Gelfand would sometimes come down from Golden State. And we'd just have like these big like dinners and we just discuss the game. James Andrisevic was a part of those staffs. And then, yeah, it was just awesome to be able to like be with the coaches and like listen to how they process the game. And it's how I learned a lot about basketball, honestly, and how I learned how coaches think and everything. I was a manager in college, so I had definitely got a little bit of that. But being able to hear kind of like these inside stories and stuff, we had Casey's that got shut down. But that was right across the street. That used to be one of our places. Like a lot of good places for us, to gather around after a game and stuff like that. Chianti's, I love going there, getting you choose your own pasta. So I guess I'm shouting out all the eating spots here, but yeah, there's a lot of good places to eat in downtown. Pacific Avenue, I love walking it. I'm about to go to New Leaf after this to get some dinner before the game, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, they definitely I talked with like Hillary Bryant, Fred Keeley, just in the past, and like the passion that there was for this community to like bring a basketball team here. I was told that like there's a city council meeting like September of 2012, I think it would have been, to like decide, to okay the stadium and stuff. And apparently it's like high school after high school are coming up and saying, look, this is what this would mean to me, these high school basketball players, to like just have this kind of professional basketball presence in the city of Santa Cruz. And Hillary Bryant had told me that she hadn't seen anything like that before. And so just to give the community something to rally around. And I mean, the support has been unreal from game one here. I remember like the roof was like leaking because there was like a big rainstorm like hours before our first ever home game. Like they had like something to do with the vents or something. They had to put like buckets in the stands like 2-3 hours before tip. But once the game went off, from day one, like the fan support has been unreal. And so yeah, I mean, I think you can say that the C-Dubs mean a lot to this community because, I mean, obviously with all the community initiatives they have, Read to Achieve, Swishes for Dishes and all that. But it's definitely seen a love affair between this city and the team. Thanks for showing up for 10 seasons now. Of course, we didn't have that 1 year in the bubble here, but yeah, from December 2012 to now, like the support has been very consistent. It's been awesome to see, still getting sellouts, still putting 5 figures worth of people at Chase Center or Oracle. I remember our first Oracle game, man, there was like 17,000 people there. The place went crazy. It was just absolutely unreal. And so yeah, all that stuff, it's been awesome to see. They are the best fans in the G League. I've traveled to a lot of these places. This was earlier in the G League, and so fan support has been better in recent years, but I've seen a lot of empty gyms in my day across the G, and you can never say that about Kaiser Permanente Arena.